people always say, oh, people have a fear of failure. I said, that's true, but I think more than failure, people don't believe they'll succeed. Like, I'm sure when you go out there, you wake up in the morning, get out of bed, you're like, you don't say, well, if I really work hard today, I'm probably not going to succeed. You're like, no, if I put in the hours, I know I might have one bad day or two bad days, but I know eventually I'm going to succeed, right?
Honestly, it's not. It's so far past that. The thought of me not succeeding has not even been on my mind for years.
Right. So you take action. You say, well, if I do the work, I get the result, right?
But there has been times, right? When I was a contractor, for example, I was a contractor for 10 years. And I was watching all these other guys do it. And I go, oh, it's got to be really hard. Where do you get the money from? Where do you do this? Where do you do that? And I was put in a really tough situation. I had a guy that owed me $1 million. Okay, I was a contractor doing his work. Mm-hmm. And what would happen is I would go do $100,000 of work and he'd pay me $97,000. Okay, then 3 months later, I'd go do $100,000 of work. He'd pay me $81,000. Right. And over the course of 3 years, all of a sudden, this guy owes me $700,000. Right. And I'm like, shit. Okay. All right. Anyway, this guy comes to me, he says, hey, I need $200,000 more so I can finish these houses. I'll sell them. I'll get you paid back the whole $1 million. So what do? I go sell a couple rental properties, right? Because I was a real estate investor and a contractor, but I was just doing buy and hold. And what happened is I go help this guy out. He owes me $1 million. I find out that he had private loans on all these houses and there was no room left for me. He files bankruptcy on me, right? I get a letter. Literally, my daughter's born. Next day, I get a letter in the mail. Right. I filed bankruptcy. You're third in line out of 48 people that just lost $16 million, right? So what happened is I'm like, dude, I'm never working for anybody else again. It took that big of an event for me to jump into it, right? It took that big of an event for somebody to kick me in the ass, and that was the best thing that happened to me because finally I was like, dude, I'm never working for another person as long as I live, and I'm gonna go just do what I've already been doing. And then I found out the contracting was the hardest part of this entire process. Right. Everything else is cake.
Why shouldn't someone go into this? Like what is there a type of person that you said, this is not for you?
No, because even my partner, so I have a business partner, his name's Cody Barton, okay? Cody could not work himself out of a wet paper bag, right? When I first met him, actually Steve Trang, the gentleman you had on the show a couple of days ago, Steve had me on his show a couple of years ago. Cody, my partner, sees me on this and goes, dude, this guy can close a deal. I need help. I can't close a deal. I can't close a deal. But you know what he could do? Generate leads.
Good opener.
Bro, just set the appointments and let me get on the phone, right? And if somebody just did that for you back in the day, you didn't have to cold call and you just... Right. So what I did is there's guys that are not meant or built for it quite yet, or maybe they're not ready for that phase in their life, right? There's so many amazing supporting roles in this type of business. Cody makes half of all the money out of our business, and he never talks to sellers. He never talks to private lenders. He never talks to anybody.
What's the fair amount of money you say someone could make in their first year doing this?
Okay,
from a dead start.
Let's look at a couple of avatars, right? Because I see a couple. I usually see about 5 of the same avatar. Avatar number 1 is a young kid, okay, 16 to 21, knows that they don't want to go to college, doesn't have any money to get started, and they go, I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to figure out how to make money. Right? There's an avatar right there. That avatar has no money. So what they got to do is they got to go, like I said, like Batch Driven, the app, right? Go download that app. You can get started for free and you can start calling sellers. I would say that avatar with very little experience could probably easily make $60,000 to $100,000 in their first year. That's me being very conservative, right? Because if I tell you what really is possible, people go, "That's not possible," right? So there's that avatar. Then there's the avatar of the 9-to-5er, the person that doesn't have any time, or at least they think they don't, right? The people that go to work at 9, they get home at 5, their kids are climbing all over them.
Second source of income for them.
Second source of income. It's the same thing. If you can spend Saturday, Sunday finding properties, helping sellers find, their pain. How do I solve your pain, right? Always comes down to pain, and helping them move on to the next chapter of their life. You getting paid an assignment fee on wholesale, or you buying cash flowing properties like we do. You could probably make $80,000 to $100,000 a year if you're a little bit more of an adult and you have had a little bit more experience with talking to people. Okay. Right? Now, there's another avatar. The avatar is a sales guy that's been a car salesman. Right? And a lot of guys that have been on your show, they were car salesmen. They jump, and they were, and amazingly. You take a guy like Chris. There's a guy named Chris that was on your show.
The Shark.
Chris the Shark, Car sales guy. That guy makes so much effing money, and in his first year made a ton of money. So if you already have experience in sales, which is what you are the king of, you can jump into real estate and dominate, and make easily $200,000-$300,000 in your first year, easily.
Okay. And how high could that go over time?
So
like, what's the real cap of this, you think?
The real cap is your personality. Okay. Do you want to have a lot of employees? Do you want to have a big shop? Do you want to have tons of things going on, like your shop back in New York? Like, how many stinking employees did you have?
Right. 3,000.
Right. So do you really want to grow it that big? That's a personality type.
Right.
And at that point,
I guess my point is like, what's the certain, like every business is different,
right,
you know, like some businesses are meant to scale.
Right.
Other businesses just like, there's a point of diminishing returns. Like it's like
wholesale is one of those.
It's like easy to make $1 million a year and live a great life, but you're better off kind of capping at $1 million and doing what you're doing, investing in other businesses.
Yeah. So I'll be really transparent with you.
Sure.
So in my wholesale operation, because we're generating leads, we either put them in the bucket of assigning the contract, we put them in a bucket of fixing and flipping, or we put them in the bucket of buying the house subject to or seller finance, and we keep those long term.
Sure.
Okay. Those are our 3 buckets. So sellers come through these 5 steps we talked about, and they're only going into one of those 3 buckets. That's it. Bucket number 1 in my wholesale operation, we're doing about 12 contracts a month. Okay. The average contract has an assignment of about $15,000. Okay. So if I'm making about $160,000 to $180,000 a month in my business, that requires me at my scaled operation maybe 2 hours a week.
Right.
Right.
Because you have expenses against that too.
Right. So out of that 180,
on that, right?
180, our cost to run that operation is about $40,000 to $50,000.
Okay.
Then my partners and I take a split.
Got it.
Okay. So let's say
50,000 profit for you.
I probably take home every month on the wholesale operation about $40,000 to $60,000 depending on the month. Okay.
All right.
Then in my fix and flip operation, it's similar. We don't want to have 25 crews. We don't want to have all this stuff. So we average about 5 to 6 flips a month.
Got it.
The average flip right now, because it is somewhat competitive, makes about $35,000 to $40,000 a month net. So again, we're at like somewhere around the 150 mark after some expenses, some employees. And I have a girl named Anna that runs my construction. She makes her bonuses. I take home probably another $60,000 a month from that business.
Got it.
Okay. Now, my buy and hold business is where my real wealth is built, because now I've got hundreds of properties that we've taken down through subject to or seller finance that are now cash flowing like crazy, right? Cash flow. That is an infinitely scalable model because I have less employees involved with that. So for me, I'm at a phase now where I'm like, I want more of those. So right now, my take home on that is probably another $60,000.
Got it.
Right. So if you're looking at that,
but you're building long-term wealth over time if those properties appreciate, right?
Right. And even if they don't appreciate, let's say they don't appreciate, they stay stagnant or they even lose money. What's cool is that my tenants, my Airbnb tenants, are paying down all my mortgages for me. So really, I am making money in my sleep.